I cannot think of another president in my lifetime who knocked down the stock market simply by opening his mouth than Jimmy Carter. Eureka, I have found him.
Jim Cramer of CNBC has been getting everything wrong for 30 years, and the Trump economy and the Trump tariff rollout have brought this to light like never before.
They screwed it up, and they did it a totally ill-advised way.
After the tariff rollout, Jim Cramer predicted a market crash similar to Black Monday in 1987, where the stock market fell 22% in one day.
1987 scenario, the one where we went down 3 days and then down 22% on Monday, has the most cogency. We will not have to wait out too long, will we? We'll know by Monday.
But don't worry, Jim Cramer is here to help. He was there in 1987, sold all of his stock, and he was in cash for the crash, so all you need to do is listen to him.
I'm not going to be constructive here. I will contain my anger, but only because I lived through 87, and in the end, I came out okay. I was in cash for the crash. I know what this feels like.
Okay, this is incredible. The moment that Jim Cramer predicted the stock market crash on April 7th was the exact bottom of the market. I'll put a link to this chart in the description, but you cannot make this stuff up. There is no better indicator of what the market is going to do than the exact opposite of what Jim Cramer says. But that didn't stop him from going all over TV trashing Trump. Jim Cramer works for CNBC. He never goes on CNN, but he did a full long-form sit-down interview on CNN talking about how bad Trump and the tariffs were for the market and the economy.
It was such a shame because they missed the opportunity, and now they have to pay the price. And it's funny, too, because none of this stock market, none of this had to happen. And I feel bad because a lot of people lose money when this happens.
The worst part about all these Trump-hating expert economists is they never go back and address their wrong predictions. Even on Friday, when the stock market was at an all-time high and up 30% from the tariff rollout, Jim Cramer just went on TV and acted like nothing happened.
You are witnessing, or I hope participating in, one of the most equal opportunity bull markets I have ever seen.
Jim Cramer also gave one of the worst pieces of financial advice ever given on television in March 2023 when he went on TV and told his audience to sell their Bitcoin when Bitcoin is up over 400% since that day.
And I would sell my Bitcoin right into this rally. And believe me, I had been a believer one time in Bitcoin. Not here, not now.
Then, a few months ago, he finally changed his mind and said, you know what? Own Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a winner.
Hey, it's a Bitcoin play. I prefer to actually own Bitcoin. I know that Citron put some sort of short on it. All I can tell you is own Bitcoin. That's a winner.
And then, just to keep the Jim Cramer effect alive, Bitcoin dropped $5,000 the next day.
They're nuts! They know nothing!
But a Jim Cramer video would not be complete without covering how he called for door-to-door military-style forced vaccinations for COVID.
So it's time to admit that we have to go to war against COVID. Require vaccination universally. Have the military run it. If you don't want to get vaccinated, you better be ready to prove your conscientious objector status in court.
And then when that didn't work, he was like, you know what? First we were telling people that lockdowns were the answer, and now we're telling them that vaccines are the answer. What we really need is a Chinese-style propaganda campaign to trick people into taking these shots.
What do you do if you told people the way to beat this is no vaccine, and now you have a vaccine? So I think what you need is a propagandist.
Outside of the state infrastructure.
Exactly.
To start moving political opinion.
Listen to the silence on his panel after he really makes this point.
I think when we think of propaganda, we think about other regimes that we didn't really appreciate. You're mighty silent.
Then, 6 months and 3 vaccines later, after Jim Cramer tested positive for COVID, he had the classic meltdown of, oh, I took all the vaccines and I still tested positive. Then I tested negative and still gave it to somebody else. None of this makes any sense. The experts don't know what they're talking about.
Whatever you hear, whatever expert you get, Dr. Fauci, whatever, I have to tell you, they know nothing. They know nothing because I test negative and then I infect my partner. What does that mean? I test negative and 3 hours later, I give it to him. Where are the authorities that are really going to step up and say, you know what, we have no idea what's happening?
Anyways, back to the Trump economy. Even though the stock market is humming, I personally don't see that as the best barometer of how our economy is really doing. We have an awesome jobs market. We have trillions of dollars getting invested into the United States. We have gas prices lower than they were at any time during Biden's term. If we can get a Federal Reserve chairman who does not hate Trump and keeps interest rates high for no reason, if we can get the tax cuts that are in the big, beautiful bill, no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security, We're going to have an economy like we've never had before in this country, regardless of what Jim Cramer and all the experts tell us. If you believe in the Jim Cramer effect, subscribe to the Matthews Report and check back for more reports. I'll see you again soon.